YouTubers, I'm Werezilla. Welcome to Werezilla's Retrospective. I'm here to review some of the most idiotic things a franchise has to offer. Today, we are going to begin with one of the most classic franchises of the 1980s, the Transformers. Transformers lasted for 3 full seasons from 1984 to 1986. There was a 4th season in 1987 in order to introduce the newest toys, but it was only a hastily made 3-parter, The Rebirth, that also served to wrap up the events of the cartoon. Personally, I don't think it's bad. It had potential, they just didn't develop the new characters very well, save for Cerebros. But as bland as some of the characters were in The Rebirth, it was just a warning for what was to come. Takara, the Japanese company that made the original toys, weren't quite done with Transformers just yet. So they decided to continue the story of the show, with the exception of The Rebirth, using the new characters. And so they created the Headmasters. And despite the fact they had access to the original show, and all 3 seasons of it, their knowledge of what belongs in a Transformers show is significantly lacking. We open with a recap of the first 3 seasons. In addition, they explain that at some point after Season 3, the Autobots established a secondary base on the planet Athenia. You mean that crescent-shaped rock that appeared in all of 1 episode of Season 3? Can you tell the difference between the 2? I sure can't. The show also has a new theme song, one that isn't based on the original.
Air rape! Air rape!
Good lord, that was painful. Not to mention, what do any of these lyrics have to do with Transformers? It doesn't fit the theme of the franchise at all. Though this is just the first of many times we'll encounter this problem. The official beginning starts with the 4 warriors that come out of the sky. Yeah, get used to the stupid titles, by the way. Galvatron leads an army of Decepticons to Cybertron via Shockwave's space bridge. You think the Autobots would have been smart enough to get rid of that thing so the Decepticons can't use it. Already we are introduced to 3 new Decepticons, Weirdwolf, Skullcruncher, and Mindwipe. They are fairly hot-headed and jump ahead of the army to take on the Autobot forces all by themselves. Galvatron isn't impressed, and neither am I. The Decepticons ambush the Autobots, and a fight breaks out. We see glimpses of the Dinobots, Wreck-Gar, and the Technobots head out to the fight, while Spike and Kup notice something is wrong with Vector Sigma, the supercomputer at the core of Cybertron that gave the Autobots and Decepticons life. On Athenia, Optimus Prime, Hot Rod, and Hound are discussing what will happen now that the Autobot matrix of leadership is now drained of its energy. They get Spike's distress call, and Prime orders reinforcements from Ultra Magnus on Earth, while he and Jazz go to Cybertron personally. On Earth, a Decepticon ambush party is intercepting Ultra Magnus' reinforcements. It is here where Magnus meets another new Decepticon, Six-Shot. Get used to the swearing, by the way, folks. Apparently the writers were under the impression that Spike's "oh shit" line in the movie was a common occurrence. What? Ninja Officer! The unstealthy, unsubtle, one-robot army in American fiction is a ninja in Japan? Did they even look at this guy's bio? What part of him made them think, oh yeah, definitely ninja? Now, there's something I have to warn about that I probably should have done at the beginning of the video. There are 2 characters that keep popping up in this series in every single episode. They are quite possibly the most annoying and pointless characters the Transformers franchise has ever seen. No, not those 2. I'm talking about Daniel and Wheelie. They contribute next to nothing. All they do is get in the way, get into trouble, and cry. I should warn you that while Wheelie doesn't rhyme like he did in the 3rd season, he's still an unlikable prick. Daniel gets it even worse. In the movie and Season 3, he was around 12 or so, and the Headmasters picks up in 2011, 5 years after Season 3. So you think he would be the age Spike was when he was first introduced. Which would put him between the ages of 15 and 18. But the writers don't know how human beings age, as he acts like he's 5. How do the writers screw this up that badly? They're Japanese. They're better at math than anyone else.
So after Daniel and Wheelie cause some annoyance, we cut back to Magnus and Six Shot's fight. It's not going well for Magnus, but a new team of Autobots, the Trainbots, save him. They were never appeared in American fiction, and as far as I'm aware, their toys were never released in America. For whatever reason, not a single one is mentioned by name here, especially given all other instances of new character introductions get both an info dump and their names appear in subtitles.
And yet, something is suspiciously familiar about them.
Prime and Magnus' reinforcements arrive as the battle on Cybertron continues. Meanwhile, in Athenia, Hot Rod, Blur, Cup, and RC spot a starship they don't recognize heading for Cybertron. The Decepticons have the Autobots cornered at the entrance to Vector Sigma. Grimlock, the Dinobots leader, doesn't recognize the new Decepticons, so they proceed in an info dump that actually stalls the battle.
Grimlock, why haven't you eaten them yet? You could have done it any time when they started babbling.
Mindwipe unveils his hypnotism ability to put the Autobots to sleep. Galvatron now has clear access to Vector Sigma when the starship, the subtitles referring to it as Battleship Maximus, arrives. 4 Autobots, Chrome Dome, Hardhead, Brainstorm, and Highbrow arrive and start yet another info dump explaining who they are.
So let me get this straight. The 4 warriors that come out of the sky in the title of this episode don't actually appear until 2 minutes before the episode ends? Really?
God!
That's the end credits!
You gotta be kidding me!
The following episode, Mystery of Planet Master, have the new Autobots and new Decepticons fighting while Battleship Maximus takes down the Jessalts. Strange that Devastator is among them, despite the fact we saw the Constructicons on Earth in the last episode, with no indication they followed the Autobots to Cybertron. During the fight, Prime heads into the entrance to Vector Sigma, leaving Hot Rod in charge. Oh goody. As the Decepticons retreat, Hot Rod and the new Autobots head to Athenia. It is here where we meet their new leader, Fortress.
Well, okay, the Autobot we see in front is not technically Fortress Maximus. Rather, what in American fiction is the normal-sized robot Cerebros, which is what I'm going to be calling him throughout the duration of this review.
Cerebros explains the backstory of the new Autobots. 4 million years earlier, Cerebros led a group of human-sized Autobots from Cybertron to get away from the war. They arrived on the planet Master, where they created the Headmaster technology. They built what are called transectors, larger bodies that the smaller, human-sized Transformers could transform into the heads of. Cerebros mentions that Werewolf's crew eventually rallied under an Autobot named Scorponok and rebelled against Cerebros' Headmasters. They were banished from Master and have since become Decepticons.
So, the Mystery of Planet Master was simply backstory that will ultimately not be the plot of this episode?
Hot Rod tells Cerebros the current situation with Vector Sigma, and Cerebros, apparently knowing a lot about the Matrix of leadership, tells the Autobots that the Matrix's power is what kept Vector Sigma stable. With the wisdom of the ages dispersed, Vector Sigma is going critical and is in danger of self-destructing. Cerebros wants to warn Prime of this, but Hot Rod tells him Prime hid the Matrix on Earth